I'm looking back. Is something supposed to happen? Hey everyone, welcome to Princess Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Look Back. This is an anime movie. It's a short one too. It's only like an hour long. Not even technically, I think, because credits are included in that. But I don't know much of anything about this. I don't know what it's about at all. I believe this is by the same person who created Chainsaw Man, right? Not like the anime, but it's like it's created by the original author, I believe. And that's about it. Like again, I don't know anything about the story at all. I don't know. Give me a second here. I don't know like anything about like I haven't seen much of anything about this. I don't even think I've ever seen a single trailer. Um, but this is a donation reward for, and this is why I'm looking at my phone if you're wondering, because I have to make sure on this for dice. Probably should have made sure of that beforehand, but oh well. But yeah, this is a donation reward for dice, so thank you for donating. Um, I don't know what to expect. I don't know what we're getting into here because, like I said, I know nothing about it. The title doesn't give me much to work with either. Look back, like, that could mean anything for a number of reasons. It could mean, like, horror movie, look back. It could mean, like, look back on your life and everything you've accomplished. It could mean look back to what you used to be, which could kind of go with the second one, but you get the point. It could mean a number of different things, and I have no clue. I don't know. And so I'm very curious to find out where this ends up going and to see what this is. But like I said, I believe the fact that it is about or from the creator of Chainsaw Man is like the only big thing I know about it. Um, because like even when I've heard people talk about it, they've just said, "Oh, I like this movie." It's like don't actually spoil me on anything, which is good, but I kind of know literally nothing. But like I said, it's a good thing. I prefer going into shows, movies, etc. as blind as possible. So let's just get into this and see what we have in store. Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out. And we are back, and we'll begin with spoilers in three, two, one, now. So I feel like I wasn't talking for good portions of the movie, and I apologize for any portions like I got like quieter on. Um, there was a lot of the movie, especially I guess in the later third, where I was just really, really trying to stop myself from crying. And when I stopped the reaction, when I pushed stop recording, I actually broke down really fucking hard. As someone who has lost people in my life, um, this definitely hit me like a ton of bricks. After I stopped recording because I was finally able to just loosen my grip on that. But it's like even beyond just like that aspect of it, it's like in less than an hour, Fujimoto, that's the mangaka who created this and is also behind Chainsaw Man and everything. Um, in less than an hour's worth of time, from a manga that was a one shot, a short one shot, crafted just a beautiful but tragic, emotional gut punch of the story, with a little bit of supernatural elements thrown in, because why the hell not? That is extremely bittersweet, but feels extremely like inspiring. Like Fujino at first drew because of the praise it got her. Her drawings were well received by her classmates in elementary school. But eventually, as she became obsessed over Kiyomoto's art, a person she had never even met, she had become obsessed over trying to surpass or even just match that art. She started destroying her social life, and it started like just making her a recluse, and she started to be seen as weird and maybe even creepy. And she eventually gave up drawing because she kind of realized that, or kind of felt at the time at least, that she would never be as good as Kiyomoto. And so she quit drawing. She started taking karate, started taking all kinds of other paths in her life, and started hanging out with friends and family more. But as she's about to graduate middle school, she's asked to go and like give the diploma to Kiyomoto. Um, because somehow Kiyomoto is graduating despite being truant. I guess if she has her work delivered and is still able to do her work even outside of school, I guess she's still doing it. Like, I guess. But I mean, there's not really any implication that she is doing it. So how is she graduate? How is that work? I don't know how all of that works in Japan. So I don't know. Because here in America, if she was truant, like, she would not be graduating. She would not be moving on. In fact, child services would probably be, like, sent to her house and, like, finding out why the parents are not sending their kid to school. Um, but it eventually leads to them meeting and becoming best friends. And let's be honest, this is one of those manga slash anime that very much falls under the category of this is not technically gay, but it's absolutely fucking gay. You know? It's like there is no actual like romance in this, but 100% if you see this as even just an allegory for a romantic relationship and everything, you are not wrong for that. In fact, you are very much right for that. It can very much be read in that way. And I don't know whether that is intentional or just, an accident, a coincidence, whatever you would call it. But it's like you can see it as just a really close friendship, but you can absolutely see it as more. And both takes are completely valid. There's actually many points here where I was kind of waiting for that shoe to drop and waiting for like them to actually get together, and I'm like, is it actually gonna take that step? Because it felt super heavily gay, and maybe that's just me because I tend to ship people very easily, and I also tend to ship a lot of queer relationships very easily. But it's like it's not just me. It can't be. Like it just felt like that, right? Anyway, but it shows how like they grow up together and eventually are in the process of getting published in Shonen Jump and stuff. But Kiyomoto wants to further her art career rather than just focus on being published as a part of a mangaka pair. And she wants to go to art school, and they have a fight. They have a falling out, and for years they don't speak to each other. And as we find out later, despite that, Kiyomoto always kept following this manga, this shark manga. She followed it every step of the way. Would like write in to reader surveys and stuff. She was very, very heavily following because she still cared greatly. No matter how you view it, still cared greatly for Fujino and wanted to follow her work because she still loved her work. Even though they had their falling out, it's like that connection was still there. And then we get the alternate timeline shit coming into play, and it's like, oh, that's kind of out of nowhere. But we see this alternate timeline where Kiyomoto doesn't leave her room in time, and they never connect at that point. So they go throughout their lives, and yeah, Fujino does end up abandoning her drawing at first and going down that same path to where she goes into karate and hangs out with her friends and everything, while at the same time, Kiyomoto goes to art school still. She's still able to move on, still go to art school, proving what Fujino had said when they split up, that like if it weren't for her, that she would have never left her room and everything. This would have never happened. Um, she would have never died and everything, proving that that's not necessarily the case. Though we see that when the killer comes to the school, Fujino in this timeline ends up saving her, having been passing by and seeing what was going on after like leaving her karate class. So, actually, it did stop her from dying in this timeline. They do connect and they do get to form a relationship. And from this, Kiyomoto draws her own little comic strip, which ends up blowing through the door to the original timeline to Fujino. Which after she goes in and sees everything and she hears Kiyomoto's voice asking her why does she draw, it makes her realize that all this time the only reason she had continued drawing was for her, was to see Kiyomoto appreciate her work. Again, you can see this as just friendship, but if you see this as gay, very valid. But it allows Fujino to go back to work again, and she goes back to drawing again, putting that comic strip above her station as a reminder of why she does this, as a reminder of the person who allowed her to find that passion and perfect it in the way that she has. It's very tragic, but it's also uplifting. It's very emotional and harsh, but it also allows you to see like the things in your lives that motivate you and push you forward and allow you to find your passion and pursue it. And sometimes it can be just as simple as, finding one person who enjoys your work, whatever that work might be. Whether it's drawing, whether it's writing, whether it's doing videos like this. Why do you think I still do YouTube? Despite having so few subscribers, so few viewers after well over a decade. I have been doing YouTube overall since 2011. I've been doing this for over a decade now. And in all that time, I don't think I ever surpassed 1,000 subscribers on either my old channels or this new one at any point. I never had a huge amount of followers. I never got a huge amount of attention. I never got a lot of people commenting. And there's a lot of reasons for that. A lot of how YouTube works and a lot of how, people choose what to watch on YouTube comes down to a lot of like my personality not being the kind of personality that people really like with a lot of reactors. I'm not like the Alicia X Life or Blind Wave or even going back to classics, the likes of Potter Brony or Rarity Dash. Classics for me, at least. um, those who got these high amount of subscribers and viewers on a consistent basis because of their personalities being a lot louder and a lot more excitable than me. I tend to be a lot more restrained and a lot more just down to earth, I guess is a good way to put it. And because of that, like, I have subscribers, I have viewers, and I appreciate all of you. And I'll get to that more in a second, but I've never gotten that huge amount that all these others have. I've never reached like hundreds of thousands of views and all. And so the reason that I keep going, not only because I just enjoy doing it, but the reason I keep going is because despite not having those numbers, those amount of viewers and subs and whatnot, those of you that I do have, like, are absolutely worth it. It's like Venom, Smurf, Cartoon Chill, Isabella, Evie, all of you. I can't mention everyone. So if I didn't mention you by name here, I'm sorry. But you guys make it worth it through your interactions, even if they're not super consistent, through your donations. Thank you, Dice, for donating for this. Through just continuing to support the channel and watching my stuff and complimenting my reactions, getting excited when I get emotional or when I get angry at something or get super excited. It's like that's what I do this for. That's why I react. It's for you guys. And so yeah, even apart from like the emotional gut punch and the death and everything that I can connect to through having had family members and friends who have died, there's also just that aspect of it. The ending part and the motivation and what has drawn me to do my craft. It's not art, although I do some art on occasion, but with YouTube, it's like you few people are what motivates me to keep going. In spite of not having all these views and subs and whatnot. And beyond even that, it's like, to talk more about the movie otherwise, it's like this movie was also just like super well made from a visual perspective. It was extremely well animated. The art style, obviously Fujimoto's character designs, you could very much see the same kind of design style from Chainsaw Man. Seeing the way the characters moved, certain scenes were shot, also down to the voice acting and the sound design and everything with this. It's like I might have to think about it a little more because jumping into these kind of conclusions very suddenly, especially with recency bias, is not always not always gonna be indicative of how I feel about things later on. But honestly, I feel like I have to say it here. And I would be really surprised, honestly, at this point, if my opinion on this changed. I think this is a perfect movie. Despite its length, which I've talked before about how I do actually like movies being longer to some degree. Um, Despite it being like less than an hour long, despite it being just this simple one shot movie with not a lot of like not the biggest amount of time to go into huge depths with, every part of this movie was so perfectly crafted. Every part of the story and the characters from the original manga that this is based on, the art and animation, the voice acting, the music, everything is so perfectly done. It is breathtaking how good this was. And I'm the person who thinks Your Name is overrated and um the other movie is better. What is the fucking other movie? Um uh Shit. Crap. Hold on. Silent Voice. Thank God. I literally typed into Google deaf girl anime movie. I'm the one who thinks Silent Voice is drastically better than Your Name. Like, drastically. Um, I think a lot of the, like the more popular movies in general are very overrated a lot of the times. And there's also a lot of movies I think are super underrated, especially there's movies that I think are great that are almost universally hated. But this movie was universally acclaimed. It has a 100% on Rotten Tomatoes. Mind you, take that with a grain of salt, as always, form your own opinions. But it has a 100%. That's pretty insane. And it deserves it. That's even more insane. I truly believe that it deserves it. Honestly, it almost feels weird to say, but I believe it's honestly not good enough. Like, did this movie win awards? Because I feel like it should have won awards. Did this win awards? Hold on. Um, no, that's the plot. Oh, okay, here's awards, accolades. Yes, okay. It won 5 awards. It won the Best Animated Picture Award at both the Hochi Film Awards and the Japan Academy Film Prize. And it won the Special Award, whatever that means, at the Seiyu Awards. I assume that's like Seiyu, like voice actor. And at the Tokyo Anime Award Festival, it won Animation of the Year Feature Film and Best Director. It was also nominated for other awards, such as Best Film and Best Actress at the Nikon Sports Film Awards. It was nominated for Best Animated Feature Independent at the Annie Awards and Best Film at the Blue Ribbon Awards. And then the Crunchyroll Anime Awards for 2025, it is nominated for, or it's pending nomination, I guess, for Film of the Year, Best Score, and Best Voice Artist Performance in Italian, I guess. That's what it says here. Um, I assume that means it's nominated, but it's like pending because the awards show for the Crunchyroll Anime Awards are on May 25th. But yeah, it's definitely an award-winning film, and it deserves it. God, yeah, it's. I've talked about this before, but there's very few movies that I consider perfect. Um, just as some examples: 12 Angry Men, The Green Mile, Wild Robot. And speaking of Wild Robot, that's the only other animated movie that I have on that list of movies that I consider to actually be perfect. And again, I don't see how this is going to change at this point. I genuinely think that highly of this film. It's that good. And the funny thing is, like when it was first starting out, when it's showing that long shot of Fujino sitting at the desk and like it's just showing her from the back and nothing is happening. I'm like watching this and I'm feeling at the very beginning it's like this is gonna be boring, isn't it? This is gonna be like a artsy film. Well, I mean, I guess it technically is an artsy film if you think about it. But sorry, I'm talking very fast right now and I just realized it. I think I'm just like I have a lot going through my mind at the moment. um, but it's like my mind was like thinking like, oh, this is gonna be one of those movies that I find to be overrated, isn't it? And then as I went along, I kind of started to realize how important that opening shot was, showing Fujino's passion for drawing and everything, and how focused she was. And it's just like by the end of the film, my opinion on that opening shot had completely turned around, and I fully believe it's just completely necessary now. It's wild. It's just it's so wild how a film in again less than an hour can do that. How it can get me to like completely turn around on something I wasn't enjoying at first, and also just how invested it can get me. Um, I just I can't praise this enough. I can't. This was phenomenal. This was perfect. Um, I'm not gonna like add it to my actual like list until I'm sure that I feel it's perfect. But again, I'm pretty damn confident right now that that's not going to change. I'll probably have decided by the time this goes up. You're going to be seeing this obviously on Saturday. I'm recording this back on Wednesday. So I'll probably have decided by then. I'll probably have thought about it more, maybe watched it again, saw some reviews for it. Um, but like, yeah, like you have no idea how hard I broke down after I stopped the recording. Like I am really surprised I was able to hold that in. I think there was like somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes between stopping the recording and starting the afterthoughts just for me to cry. Like literally doing nothing but sitting here just bawling my eyes out. I was really inconsolable. The dog actually like came up to me and like was seeing if I was all right. I was not all right. And I think it was starting to crack through at a couple points in the reaction. You could tell me for sure as you watch it, or have watched it by this point that you're seeing this. But you have to let me know if there were like points where I was like starting to crack through. I noticed I was like rubbing my eyes at a point at one or two points. Um, I know I was doing that, but I mean I don't necessarily. I was not really necessarily wiping away tears, but like just kind of like somehow that was just helping me deal with my emotions. I don't know. Because no tears actually fell during the reaction. I got a little misty eyed, but I was holding it back enough. Again, it was literally right after I hit stop recording that it just burst. The dam just burst, and I couldn't hold it in anymore. Like I said, I'm honestly surprised I was able to, because I cry a lot on camera. I am not ashamed of that. I cry a lot on camera. Um, so it's honestly surprising. Um, here, I got an example for you. If you go back to my reaction to the series finale, not season, but series finale of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, season 9, the series finale, when I completely broke at the very end of that, when the book closed, that was nothing compared to my breakdown here. That's an example I can give to you. I broke down hard at the end of that episode. Really fucking hard. And that was still not as hard as I just broke down now. I I was inconsolable for so long. Again, like it was somewhere between 5 and 10 minutes. I don't know exactly how long. I wasn't tracking it, but it's like, ugh. Even through recording these afterthoughts, I've been like sniffling and wiping away tears still and everything, and even tearing back up at points. It's just, God. This is definitely better than Your Name. I don't care. And I would say it's better than Silent Voice even, and that's saying something because I really do love A Silent Voice. That movie also made me bawl really hard. Ugh. It's just why it's wild though, because here's the thing: if I consider this a perfect film, that means I consider it better than Tokyo Godfathers, which is my current favorite anime film. Do I consider it better than Tokyo Godfathers? Oh, that's such a weird idea that I just put into my head. Sorry, I'm rambling now. I apologize. I have gotten off topic. I have rambled. I don't know what I'm even talking about anymore. I think. Tell me in the comments below what you thought of this movie. Did you cry as hard as me the first time you saw it, or if this is the first time you're seeing it? Um, Let me know your thoughts. Thank you so much for tuning in. And again, thank you, Dice. Thank you for suggesting this. I don't know if I ever would have watched this otherwise. I've heard of it, obviously, but I don't know if I ever would have watched it if you or someone else hadn't requested it. Um, Thank you. Thank you for making me lose my shit. Luckily off camera this time, but thank you nonetheless. I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.